Hey, Croix friends. What does a construction project and a prayer have to do with us reopening our buildings in about 10 days? A whole lot. Let me explain. One of the oldest stories in our Bible is the story of the Tower of Babel. The people of the earth have come together to make a name for themselves by building this tower to heaven. And the Lord confuses their language to bring the project to a halt. Well, why does God do this? Because they were living in direct opposition to His command to, quote, fill the earth. They decided instead to settle in one place and not spread out. They also decided to be about themselves and not God's glory. In this story, God says something I find utterly remarkable. He says, if as one people speaking the same language, they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. That's how potent unity is. Nothing is impossible for a unified people. Fast forward to the Gospel of John, chapter 17, the night before Jesus' death on the cross. Here we have the longest prayer of Jesus recorded. In that prayer, He says, I pray that all of them may be one, Father, just as you are in me and I am in you, that they may be one as we are one, I in them and you in me, so that they may be brought to complete unity. Then the world will know that you have sent me and have loved them even as you have loved me. Here, Jesus is saying that unity among His people is so powerful that the world will be convinced that God sent Him. There's no greater argument for the existence of God and the claims of Jesus than the unity of His people. Notice that Jesus grounds this in the very nature of God. Our God is three, yet one. Do you know why we puzzle over the Trinity? That one God could be three persons? I think it's because we see so little unity in our world that our minds can't comprehend it. The three persons of the Trinity are so thoroughly united that they are one. Jesus' prayer for us is that we would have the same unity, which leads me to our re-entry plans. If you haven't noticed, the pandemic and how it's been handled has been a divisive issue in our country. Understatement of the year, right? And look at how this lack of unity has hampered our ability to respond effectively. We cannot let this spirit of disunity creep into our church. The enemy of our souls knows the power of unity and will do everything he can to work against it. We have to be wise to his schemes. There are 1,001 things to disagree about in this pandemic and how we should handle it as a church. Some believe we should have opened a long time ago, and others believe we're opening too soon. Some believe it is much ado about nothing, and others believe it's a life and death struggle. Some are for masks, others are adamantly opposed, and on and on and on. Here's my ask. Let's lay aside those differences and let's rally around each other and the mission Jesus has given us. Even if that means doing something we are personally uncomfortable with, like keeping social distance. Next week, we will release a video with the protocols and the plans we have to make sure the opening of our buildings is as safe as possible and protects the most vulnerable among us. You may disagree with some of our decisions, and that's okay. I can't tell you that we have it all figured out. Heaven knows there's been much uncertainty with this pandemic. But I can tell you that we have prayed diligently, sought God's heart, and have chosen a path that is motivated purely by love. Love for you and those we invite into these buildings who don't know Jesus. If we could for a season set aside our preferences, as Jesus said, to deny ourselves, pick up our crosses, and follow Him, we could see something extraordinary take shape in our midst. Or we could be ordinary and mimic the world around us and fight over these things. My prayer is that we take the path less chosen and be in complete unity, just as Jesus and the Father are one. One of my favorite poems is the classic by Robert Frost. It ends with these lines. Two roads diverged in the middle of a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. in a culture that can't seemingly agree on anything. Let's choose a different path. Let's show them what unity looks like. Together, let's be the answer to Jesus' prayer. Let's show the world that God is real and that Jesus is His Son and our only hope. If we will do that, this will be our finest hour.